Spoiler alert, this video contains light spoilers for Subnautica Below Zero. It won't ruin the game for you, and I only really use gameplay from the first 2 hours, but if you do want to go in completely blind, I highly recommend you do. I was never much of a survival game fan. I find that a lot of them tend to be very grindy and samey and just have lackluster stories, which is one of the things that personally keep me motivated when playing video games, so the genre never really appealed to me. Until Subnautica. Subnautica did a lot of things right, but I feel like it almost reinvented the wheel on the survival game genre with the way it did the plot, the gameplay loop, and more. It showed that a plot could be done, pretty well in one of these games, so I loved it for that. The terror elements particularly made the game an absolute thrill ride to play for the first time, never really knowing what came next as you went deeper and darker, and even when you did, it was still terrifying. So, I was intrigued when I heard that a sequel was in development. But this time I decided to hold off until the official launch, because the first game I played as it was in early access, but this time I decided to wait, because I wanted to get a spoiler-free experience. I wanted to just jump into the full game and see what I thought. So, that's what I did, and now I'm here to talk about it. Subnautica Below Zero sticks pretty closely to the original game in terms of gameplay. It's a very similar gameplay loop of collect food to survive, collect resources to build a base, then vehicles, and then go to solve the mysteries that cover the ocean depths. The story pushes you to go deeper, and by going deeper you discover more materials which you use to build more bases and upgrade your vehicles, and then you go deeper and you get other materials, and then you get more story, etc. It's a pretty standard gameplay loop, but a highly addictive one. The traversal in the water feels good, especially once you get vehicles, more on that later, but overall it really can be a plain, just fun game, and really satisfying too. Below Zero builds on this core experience though, and it does it in a lot of the right places. It keeps the fast-paced intro style from the first game to get you right into gameplay, and when you first dive into that water, it really is incredible. Downright magical. The performance and graphics are better too, most notably the performance, which really helps with just the immersion of the game. The performance had a lot of issues in the first game, especially on consoles for a while. The UI felt cleaner to me as well, and it was just very refreshing. It made it a lot more of a cohesive experience that you could just get lost in, which really helps the game. On top of upgrades, a number of bigger changes have been made, and for one of my favourites is there's a voiced protagonist this time, and as much as I loved the eerie silence of the first game, where it's just a silent protagonist, because, I mean, who are they going to talk to? It really is nice to listen to our main character Robin talk about their discoveries or take mental notes of something that happens, and these voice logs. There are like little voice logs that you can get when you discover things. Completely optional, but you can open your PDA and look at them. I smiled so much when I first saw that. Like, occasionally when you make one of those discoveries, you'll get like a little voice note thing in your PDA. It was absolutely great. It added some fantastic insight to them as a character, and it made that scavenging just a little more entertaining to me, and it never got boring. It really didn't. Things get better though, even better. As light spoiler alert, Robin gets these other characters to bounce off, even if only for short periods at a time. These interactions really spiced it up for me, like in the terms of the story, and made me even more excited to hit the next story beat or get to the next task. These characters are well written, funny, and sometimes even quite emotional. Some of these relationships shown and built on in this game are so incredibly cool to see, and some of these character story beats were ideas I've wanted to see since the first game, so I am glad it was included. Speaking of the first game, it isn't necessary to play this one and understand it. Well, I highly recommend you do. You'll get some little Easter eggs or background knowledge on everything going on, which was really fun to see. You don't actually need it though. This game stands pretty damn well on its own, which is great for new players who want to jump into the series now with the new title. Anyway, back to changes. We are now on the other side of our favourite watery planet, so naturally new environments were crafted for this game, and crafted they were. From the twisty bridges to the glacial basin to the lily pad biome and beyond, these places look incredible, and beautiful as well. Unknown Worlds has definitely gotten better at the above land environments too, so that was nice to see, and The world definitely didn't feel as big as the first, but I think that really helped for the overall pacing, and just progression of the game. Like, you got tools a little bit faster, and it felt a little less, like, absurdly grindy as the first one, which helps me a lot. I just liked it. These environments, though, that you get these materials from and that you're going to spend most of the game grinding in, as I cannot stress enough, God, they were so pretty, so beautiful, and even terrifying when they wanted to be, especially at night. And the sound design too. The sound design even assists this. The sound design comes back hitting hard. The roars of the creatures in this game are even more terrifying than the first. Same with some of these character designs. Not character designs, creature designs. Like, holy shit. I was terrified when I first got attacked by the squid sharks. Absolutely horrifying. Descending into the depths of the sea ended up being just as scary as it used to be. A funny story. When I started the game, for about the first, 3 hours, I was kind of confidently swimming down into deeper places, eager to go down there, not expecting it to faze me anymore. You know, I got through the Reaper Leviathans and the crab squids and the Warpers in the first game. I could take on anything, right? But then I arrived at the deep, twisty bridges and was quickly put back in my place. But yeah, this game is just as beautifully terrifying as the first, and the exploration still holds up. One change, though, is that the Cyclops and Seamoth aren't in this game. Instead, we have the Sea Truck, which honestly might be my favourite of the three. The way it works, detaching and reattaching modules to make it as small and faster, as big and heavy as you like, really added this kind of layer of personalization and customization I really enjoyed. Also, whoever had the idea to put a jukebox in the sleeper module is my personal hero. I went on such a power trip blasting Subnautica fan-made songs, which in itself is really cool to see in the game. It's just this nice little bit of community involvement that they, put fan songs on the jukeboxes in the game. But yeah, just blasting those as I went down and deeper and darker into the depths of the world. Excited, but also nervous to see what would come. It was just one of the best power trips. But yeah, as well with the kind of personalization, base building as well just feels like a more personal experience than before. Once again, with things like the jukebox and the glass ceilings and the different fauna you can hang in places, and the long rooms and so many more options, I felt like I had more control and personalization of my base, which actually made me invest in the system. I honestly spent a whole day grinding for my base at one point to get it, really big and cool. And I spent, a whole day grinding for it, and it made me look sick as hell. Me next to that base, beautiful base. Just saying. But it really felt fun and actually rewarding instead of a system I barely engaged with, like in the first title. As I said, the gameplay and story really is engaging and excellent here. I could go on all day, really. I do have a massive list of talking points I cut out when making this video. And I don't want to spoil everything here, so here's just kind of a short list of some of the thoughts I wrote down, some of my favourites. Fuck yeah, I love penglings. Why did the music stop when I went below 100 meters? Sound design, 1,000,000 out of 10. The glacial basin almost made me shit myself. So, as you can kind of see, it had a very profound effect on me personally. My only real criticism is the grind. It's fun at first, and it's cool, and it's just a satisfying gameplay loop, but I feel like towards the end of the game, if you don't pace yourself, it gets awful. It gets pretty boring. Specifically towards the end, as I said. It's still a lot better than the first game. I think it's because of how the progression is done and how the world is just a bit smaller. But yeah, it still gets to me by the end of the game. And if you like that grind, if you love that, great. There's a lot of it for you. But if you don't like it, it might be a bit rough for a bit. I personally would recommend popping on some music in the sea truck while you travel, or maybe pulling up a Let's Play to watch while you do it, or even have a friend over to watch you play the game or talk to. Because some parts of it, especially towards the end, felt like a collectathon of searching for some ingredients, but I would say that the story kind of makes it worth it, and it overall really doesn't ruin my outlook on the game. Yeah. So, this is my first, proper review, I think, where I properly, tried to do something cool. So I don't really know what I should do here. Do I do, a rating out of 10 or something? Maybe, I don't know. Look, just go out and buy it if you want. I highly recommend it. I liked it. And I'm sure if you think the game is interesting enough to, like, click on this video of all videos, I feel like you've probably either bought the game and are looking for validation, or you're going to buy the game anyway. So, yeah. But if you really want my opinion, I'd probably say an 8 out of 10. I liked it. It's probably what I would give the first one. Overall, it's a good improvement, but it doesn't, it doesn't change anything too much. Like, it's not groundbreaking. But yeah, overall, it's just a fun game with a fun mystery to unravel, fun characters, and overall just a world that is truly enthralling to explore. So, yeah. I'm Swindas, and this has been my review of Subnautica Below Zero. If you enjoyed this video, and it either made you feel a certain way, or helped influence a purchasing decision, please let me know, or don't, I guess. Who needs a comment section anyway? If you would like to see more videos like this, or valued this review in any way, please leave a like and subscribe if you want. That would mean a lot. Yeah. Thanks for watching, happy gaming!